So inspired by watching other YouTube videos that review things, I just thought I could make a quick one reviewing a Now album myself, just because I've got a lot of them. Collected most of them through 1 to 100 that you can get, and they've kept coming out with all these spin-offs, basically repackaging compilation albums and hoping that people will pay for them. So one of the latest that's come out in 2019 as part of the 100 Hits series that has obviously followed the release of Now 100 is Forgotten 90s. So if you're into your 90s pop, you're going to be at least curious as to see what this is like. So what is it actually like, this? Well, you get 5 CDs because it's 100 hits. Let's just focus that a little bit more. And here's what some of them are. So obviously 100 hits, but there is a rival series, isn't there? Which is also a fairly cheap compilation series. Whilst you might get a few gems here and there, a lot of it sometimes are cheaper tracks. There's probably at least 100 of these 100 hits ones by now. So I'll just simply go through it, what you get, yes. It's a lot of the more usual suspects here, but it is supposed to be, as it says, forgotten hits. The only problem is, if you were around into the chart music, a lot of this stuff, I would say, isn't all that forgotten. But there are surprises here as well that you perhaps wouldn't have expected. I mean, some of them can't be forgotten. I mean, that one there, White Town, Your Woman, it was a #1 hit. Someone made in their bedroom. Dupe. A lot of these you can find on, if you've got all the Now albums anyway, like through the 90s, you know, a lot of them are on there anyway. So that's another thing. But there are a few surprises. Well, I think I'll just go with what those were. To me was this one, Miami Hit Mix, which is quite a nice one to have because it's not on many. Basically a bit of a mashup or a medley of Gloria Estefan's 80s hits, and that was quite a good one to have. Another of the real surprises is when they put, if we could just find it here, because it's actually very difficult with this absolute wall of text. Not sure. Obviously, they've got to stick the track listing on somewhere, but they are struggling to find the space to do it, aren't they? Don't you think? Hadaway Life, yes, he's choosing a more minor hit by the artist, makes it a bit more forgotten, but they haven't been doing it in lots of cases. But they have here. Instead of What Is Love, it's Life. Instead of Things Can Only Get Better by D-Ream, it's You Are the Best Thing, which was a top 10 follow-up. So the real surprise was, and I'm still trying to find it, is when they included the WWF Superstars and Slam Jam. There it is. Because that's just not hardly on anything. And an even greater surprise is when they included that single that presumably is long forgotten by the band that was featured in Emmerdale, the Woolpackers, named after the pub. Hillbilly Rock, Hillbilly Roll. That was a single. It was out in '96. It's on here. And I think things that really live up to the idea of forgotten 90s, you know, is things like Turtle Power, the #1. It was a #1, but as I say, it still fits the forgotten 90s. Now, if I'm reviewing this, I would say that the biggest annoyance is, and it happens with a copy of Forgotten 70s, I'm not going to go and buy a new one, is getting the CDs out in these tiny little slits. It's a bit like the recent Simpsons DVD box set. It's absolute pain doing that. So, you know, that, I wish they could make it a bit easier. Admittedly, I don't even get the CDs out. Once you've ripped them, that's it, usually, you know, sort of thing. But that is the cheapest way you could do it. And it's made of this flimsy, I think they think it feels nice to be made of cardboard, but I don't like these. They get scuffed pretty easily. I mean, I've hardly used this, but you can see already that is pretty scuffed, you know, because it doesn't stand up to anything. It's a nice futuristic looking cover, so if I was to have any thoughts about that, it would be to say that this is like the Matrix. Actually, that's the first thing you will think of. Those lines going down, they seem like the lines of computer code in the Matrix, don't they? And it's an absolute green theming to it, as you can see there. It is so, and there it is at the side. Nothing special about that, but that's what you will see on your shelf. And then this here. So because it's made by Sony Music now, it has so many more tracks that they've got the rights to. As I said, I think you'll buy it anyway, just because if you've collected a lot of the Now series, you will. be looking at some gaps in your collection, and that is the reason to buy these albums in general. But they often go over a lot of the same things that have already been released. So there you go. That's just my thoughts on Now 100 Hits, Forgotten 90s.